In today's video, we're going to discuss the 7 foods to avoid for a flat stomach. What's up, guys? It's Anthony from AB Fitness Center, where we help you to lose body fat, gain muscle, and get stronger. Alrighty, before we get started into the content today, I want you guys to hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor and do that because it just lets me know how much you like what I'm saying, and this way you also get applicable information as soon as I release it. Alright, so let's talk about the 7 foods and you want to avoid for a flat stomach. So we're going to have a couple of disclaimers before we get rolling into this. So disclaimer number 1, when you practice flexible dieting, which is what I recommend to all my clients and what I do myself and have been doing myself for a very, very long time, no food is off limits. So I'm going to say that first and foremost. No food is off limits when you practice flexible dieting. Flexible dieting, whether you like it or not, is what you're following anyway. If you're doing keto, you're tracking macros. If you're doing Atkins diet, you're tracking macros. If you're doing Weight Watchers or whatever, you're tracking macros. You just don't know what they are. When you practice flexible dieting, you're just basically tracking macros. And essentially macros are what your body sees, right? So that's the one thing. Your body only sees the numbers. It doesn't see what you eat. It just sees amounts. Whether you like that or not, or disagree or agree, I don't care. That's what I recommend. That's what I do. Again, whether you like it or not, that's the way it is. It's science. All right, so disclaimer number 2. In order to lose body fat and to get a flat stomach, you have to make sure that you're eating in a calorie deficit, meaning that you're eating less calories than your body is burning every day. Whether you like it or not, no matter how much grilled chicken and salad you eat, if you're eating more calories than you should be eating, you're going to gain weight, even if it comes from healthy foods. Don't believe me? Try it. I promise you can eat all the grilled chicken, spinach, and whatever, olive oil, whatever else you want to eat. If you're overeating, you're going to gain fat. It's very simple. So before we even get started with the 7 foods you should do for a flat stomach, that you should avoid for a flat stomach, you want to make sure that you're in a calorie deficit and that you're keeping track of what you're eating. All right, so let's roll into the 7 items, okay? So number 1, again, I'm going to preface this whole video by saying everything on this list is going to be different for each person. That's first and foremost. Every body literally is different. Every body responds to things a little bit differently, but over my years and 15 years of training experience, these are some of the things that I've known to cause people to not have a flat stomach. So aside from being a calorie deficit, which I talked about earlier, you need to have, number 1 on my list is dairy. Dairy is one of those things that most people are lactose intolerant and maybe even slightly, but dairy is one of those things that causes bloating and causes excess water retention. Now, if you're trying to lose body fat and you want a little bit of dairy, you can have the dairy, that's fine. Just understand that you're going to be bloated that day and maybe the next day just from the dairy. Okay, dairy maybe cause a little bit of water retention for you. For me, it gives me gas. It bothers my stomach. So it makes my stomach get a little bit distended when I have it. So if I want a flat stomach, if I want my stomach to be really, really flat, I will try to avoid dairy because, again, whenever I have dairy, it makes gas, it bothers my stomach, and my stomach comes out a little bit. Okay, so it's just one of the things that you want to avoid when you're trying to keep your stomach nice and flat. All right, so that's 1. Number 2, for obvious reasons, you want to avoid liquid calories. Liquid calories add up over time. So you want to, one golden rule I have, except for protein powder, you want to never, ever, ever drink your calories. So like fruit smoothies, things like that. Like if you go to like the Jamba Juice and places like that, those drinks are like 500-600 calories. And yes, it's apples, bananas in there, whatever else, but it's still a ton of calories. So if you're trying to get a flatter stomach, you need to be in a calorie deficit. Those drinks are going to cause your calorie deficit to be that much harder to hit. Again, also you're going to have a lot of volume in your stomach from that drink, and it's just going to push your stomach out a little bit more. When you want a flat stomach, you really want to try to keep the stomach as kind of like as empty as possible, so you want to eat as light as possible. So when you're having a lot of liquid calories, it's going to fill up your stomach really fast, and your stomach's going to, come out a little bit. All right, number 3, coffee. Now, I'm going to preface this also by saying that I did a video on why coffee will make you fat. So I'll try to link that somewhere up here or over here or somewhere. I'll put it somewhere in the video. But make sure that I should actually mark that down, 5-minute mark. But make sure that with coffee, you be careful of the additives that you add into coffee. Now, actually, if you have coffee plain, straight up black, that's actually a diuretic. It'll actually make your stomach a little bit smaller. But when you add all the things into it, that's what's actually gonna push your stomach out, because again, it's liquid calories, a lot more room in your stomach it's gonna take up. So you wanna try to avoid those extra things that you're putting in the coffee. Again, when I'm talking about flat stomach, I'm talking about also the things that will make you bloated, that will push your stomach out. But remember, you have to be in a caloric deficit and you have to lose body fat every week in order to get a smaller stomach, period. So if you're watching this and your body fat's a little higher than you like, you just gotta make sure that you're dieting and losing body fat, and these tips will help you get your stomach tighter. All right, so that's number 3. Number 4, mince. Mints. Yep, mints. Those little lifesaver things that you pop in your mouth. So I had a client one time, and for the life of him, he was doing so well with his nutrition, but he had such a hard time at one point just getting past this plateau. So, we did a diet recall. We looked at his past couple of days of eating, and we said, hey, what's been going on with your nutrition? Everything looks good here. Is something going on? Are you eating something that you shouldn't be, and are you putting it in your log? And he goes, well, the only thing that's not on here is like the mints that I have every day. So I said, okay, well, what kind of mints? And he was having I think it was Lifesavers at the time. So, like the white ones, like the peppermint ones for like your breath or whatever. So I said, okay, well, let's look at those. So he actually had some with him. So we looked at the back, and I think it was for every 3, it was a certain amount of calories. And he was having like 16 of them a day. Now remember, those life things are quick. You just pop in your mouth, you don't even feel them. But when we added it up, actually ended up being an extra 300 calories a day added to his foods without him even knowing. Again, he didn't even think it was anything, because again, it's something he pops in his mouth. He doesn't think about it. It's a mint, right? But anything that contains calories, you gotta log on your MyFitnessPal or just in general, paper and pen, whatever you use. So mints are gonna be one of those things that will add to your calories for the day, which will not help you to eat in a calorie deficit. Hopefully that makes sense. But again, mints and any type of other thing that you're eating that contains calories that you don't even think contain calories will not make your stomach flat. Okay, so that was number 4. Number 5, high fat foods. So when it comes to digestion, fat takes the longest to digest in your body. It sits in your stomach longer, so it's gonna take longer to digest. So when you have fried foods or higher fat intakes of food, it's gonna automatically sit in your stomach longer. It's gonna make you feel bloated, and it's gonna distend your stomach a little bit because there's more stuff in there and your body has to digest it. Fat takes almost double the time to digest than protein or carbs. So you gotta remember that whenever you have anything high in fat, it's gonna push your stomach out. It's gonna take longer to digest. So just keep that in mind. Obviously we shouldn't be eating, fried foods. It's kind of given. If you want a flat stomach, obviously, that's kind of obvious, right? We all know what we should and shouldn't eat, right? You can agree with that, right? You're listening to me, you could agree. Just nod your head. You could say, yeah, it's okay. All right, so number 6, and I think this one's gonna surprise you. If your goal is to have a flat stomach, okay, and you want your stomach to be as thin as possible, you want to avoid having a lot of fiber all at once. So like a lot of vegetables or a lot of fruits all at one time, expands in your stomach, and it'll make your stomach distend a little bit just from the amount of fiber you have. So if your goal is, let's say you want to take pictures of yourself or whatever, you want to make sure you try to avoid as much fiber as you can before you take those pictures, so your stomach gets, is really flat. Because again, if you have a lot of vegetables, even though vegetables are healthy for you, a lot of fiber really fast into your digestive system will push your stomach out. It may give you a little bit of gas, and it'll cause like a little bit distension. So again, you want to try to, when you're looking to get a flatter stomach, you can have the vegetables. I'm not saying don't eat vegetables, but just try not to have a lot of fiber all at once, because that's just gonna sit in your stomach, okay? So that's number 6. Number 7, any type of carbonated drink. Diet sodas, seltzers, obviously, and then going back to the other one, number 2, which was liquid calories, sodas, anything like that. Anything carbonated, again, for the same reason of the high fiber and things like that in the dairy, it's gonna cause bloating, and it's gonna make your stomach push out a little bit just because of all the gas and carbon dioxide that you're consuming with it. Again, if it's seltzer or diet soda, it's 0 calories, you won't gain weight from that, but it's gonna push your stomach out a little bit, and it's gonna make you a little more bloated. So you just gotta kind of keep that in mind when it comes to trying to get a really, really flat stomach. Again, when you practice flexible dieting, you can have these things on this list, but just understand that when you have them in that moment in time, you're going to be a little bit bloated. So for me, for example, if I want some ice cream, I'll have some ice cream, but then I'm going to say, okay, I know I'm going to be a little bit bloated throughout the rest of today because I've had the ice cream. So you're just going to kind of keep that in mind. All right, but it's not to say that you can't have it. You can. It's just a matter of fitting it into your day and just accepting the fact that, okay, today my stomach might be a little bit distended because I had a little bit of dairy, or I had dairy in a diet soda. All right, so hopefully these things help you. So I'm going to summarize everything again for you. So 7 things you want to avoid if your goal is to have a really, really flat stomach. You should always be in a calorie deficit, aiming to eat more, burn more calories than you're eating. This way you're actually losing body fat. But here are the 7 things. 1, you want to avoid dairy, again, because it'll make you feel a little bit bloated. 2, you want to avoid liquid calories because those liquid calories will add up over time. Only exception is protein powder because I consider protein powder food. Number 3, coffee additives. Anything you're putting into your coffee that you're not tracking will cause you to gain weight. Watch my video somewhere here or in the description. I'll link it on coffee. Okay, number 4, any mints or anything else that you may be eating that contain calories you don't realize will cause your waistline to grow. Number 5, fried foods and high-fat foods all at once because it's going to take longer to digest and it's going to sit in your stomach longer, which will protrude your stomach a little bit more. Number 6, a lot of fiber in one meal. That's going to cause your stomach to bloat out, and you'll feel that. You're going to be a little bit bloated from that. Again, it's not that it's a bad thing, but just understand that when your goal is to have a flat stomach really fast, having those things are going to push your stomach out. And number 7, any carbonated drinks for that same reason. All right, guys, hopefully these 7 things, 7 foods to avoid will help you on your journey to get a flat stomach. If you guys are interested, you can head on over to the link in the description to my website where we can talk about nutrition coaching for you. All right, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop me one of these because it really helps me, and comment below and let me know if any of these tips are going to help you. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.